Okay. All right.
Welcome, everyone.
Here. Yes. Good to be.
And we have some new faces, so I think it would be wonderful if those of you who are newer to attending some of these calls would jump in and kind of introduce yourself. Some of the names I recognize, and we've been trying to make contact or have spoken over the phone for a couple of minutes. Would love for you to share with the group kind of how you came here. And for some background for those of you who are new to this call, it is recorded, and we do send out a recap sort of email at that afterwards. And then a lot of people go in and rewatch it. So while we all want to have a very productive conversation in the next 20, 30, 40 minutes, there is a lot of content that is watch later. So keep that in mind when you're talking, that there's a lot more eyes and ears that will kind of help us push this effort forward, as we have been doing for the past 12 months.
Yeah. Luke, since you haven't been on in a while, you want to jump in and tell us what's going on with Serve and let everyone know what you guys are doing. And it's been a long year for you guys in that area too.
Sure. Yeah. So my name is Luke Reagan. I'm originally from Atlanta area, but I live in Amman, Jordan. I've been working for Serve International for the past year or so, managing both the Middle Eastern operations as well as the Ukraine ones. So I've done a couple of visits into Ukraine, the most recent one being last December. We went to Kiev on about a week-long operation. And then on top of that, we've been running most of our operations out of Budapest, and the Hungarian team just went to Kharkiv 2 weeks ago.
And what's going on? What are you seeing? I know we recently got an updated report from you guys about the hotelier that had opened up his place to refugees, and people were kind of sheltering there. But what is your team seeing, and can kind of catch us up on some real-time updates?
Yeah, I think the biggest things that we're seeing is the fight for the power grid has been almost the biggest issue. Obviously, Russia's been bombing the power grid, kind of cutting power, trying to cut heat sources and anything like that, because the winter was cold. The entire time we were there, Kiev was covered in a big blanket of snow. It was about 30 degrees. And so we were sleeping in our winter coats because no one had power to run heaters, and no one had access to gas. So those are really being the biggest things. In Kharkiv, I've been talking with Peter about the most recent operation. Apparently it's gotten bad. They sent the van in with all the humanitarian stickers on the side, and people literally rushed the van trying to get the aid, just because no one gets out that far. I mean, from Budapest to Kiev, it was about a 30-hour drive. It's even 15 more hours from there to get out to Kharkiv. So the winter's really rough, and I think that's kind of the biggest takeaway.
Yeah, for sure. And what are your biggest needs right now, whether it's connection or aid or anything like that? What can people keep in mind when it comes to Serve?
Yeah, I think it's funding is always the issue. We've gotten our logistical operations, we've got pretty strong network getting at least across the north of the country. It's just a matter of getting supplies, most importantly, gas, generators, heaters. Those are the primary things that we're really finding people are in desperate need of.
Okay.
Luke, when you guys were driving, did you have any issues getting fuel? I mean, I've heard that's kind of hit or miss. And if you make that long trek, it seems like it's kind of risky to be able to, it's not like in the States where you know that every gas station has.
Right.
Yeah, it's definitely hit or miss. It really depends on the gas station chain. So every single time we stopped, we always went to the same chain that seems to have a reliable fuel source. I can't remember the name of it at the moment, but because we did it that way, we never had issues, at least going from Budapest to Kiev. I don't know going farther east of that, what it looks like, but that was my experience.
Okay, great.
Can I ask what partners you're using for logistics in into and inside Ukraine?
Yeah, we've been running most of our operations through Faith Church Aid, which is a Hungarian organization running out of Budapest, and then within the borders of Ukraine, it was Eastern European Outreach based out of Baragova.
I didn't hear the second part. I'm sorry.
Eastern European Outreach, which is based out of Baragovo, right on the border of Hungary and Ukraine.
Okay.
Will you type those into chat, Luke, please?
Sure.
The reason I asked is I've connected with two. One is Bioport and one is Atlas Logistique. And I'm trying to, they are EU funded and they will move anything from an EU port to Ukraine and into Ukraine to Venezia, Dnipro, or Kharkiv. So, but I'm wondering about getting stuff to an EU port and combining because we have less than a container load. So
Frederick, I know we've been emailing back and forth, but we can talk after if you want to how to consolidate there because we can help manage that kind of from door to door.
Okay.
So you don't have to try and work on that piecemeal.
And Atlas Logistique, for what it's worth, within Ukraine, they have cold chain and they have a sorting facility at Venezia, and they can move things to Dnipro or Kharkiv on their trucks for what it's worth.
Okay. Yeah, no, if you want, we were always looking for more partners there. So far, we've mainly have been shipping full containers, and when they've been getting to Poland or we've shipped some to Hungary and into Romania, the ports there, we had significant challenges with congestion, and in the beginning there was some hold up because there was still that we want to get duties and taxes even though it is going to Ukraine as humanitarian aid. We haven't found that as an issue in Poland, and then the agents that we've worked with in Poland have had the ability to either we've been delivering things directly into Ukraine. It just really depends on if you use a full container. The steamship lines do not want the containers to go into Ukraine and to go back. So we transload the material in Poland and then drive it on a truck over into Ukraine. In your case, for an LCL, that would happen anyway, because it would get deconsolidated at the port in Poland. But I know we've been exchanging emails, so we can talk after if you want, but we can certainly help coordinate the entire logistics for that. That shouldn't be something that you have to try and piecemeal together.
Okay. Well, okay, and I'm offering it too because Atlas and Bioport work together, and it's free once you get it to the EU, as opposed to having.
They deliver it and everything for you free. Who funds them? Do you know?
The EU.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, they're two NGOs. They are EU funded, and that's why we partnered with them. All we have to do is get it to an EU port. Perfect. So if we can work together on that.
Got it. So then are they assuming responsibility of the cargo, or are they taking it to whoever you want them to take it to?
The latter.
Okay.
Although we have some folks in Venezia that can help with sorting and then connect with folks who are working closer to the front lines. Moreover, if you have tax and other issues, we have a charitable foundation in Poland, and we have a charitable foundation in Ukraine. So we have all that part worked out as well.
Yeah, so then you shouldn't have any issues with duties and taxes at all. So,
but if other people have that sort of problem, we may be able to work that together too. So
awesome. Yeah, so most of our shipments so far have been direct to a specific consignee. So they have not been shipments going to an international NGO or global, humanitarian aid organization. We've been working directly with, let's say, for example, we've worked a lot with Matter and I see Vicky on the call here, and Performance Health, who have donated material. So we have found organizations within the US that partnered with actual like hands
Mhm.
on organizations in Ukraine, for example, and that they are the actual consignees. So it's going directly to a church, it's going directly to a hospital, directly to a school, and therefore being immediately distributed rather than going to like a larger UNHCR or warehouse or something, and then kind of possibly being delayed getting into the hands of the people that really need it. And so we haven't really had any issues with the duties and taxes piece as much as in the beginning, some of the governments in countries outside of Poland were still struggling with how they still wanted their piece, right? Whereas Poland knew anything that was going into Ukraine, that was just not, they weren't taxing anything. So
For what it's worth, Atlas will deliver to a consignee for what it's worth. So if
right.
reducing
Yeah, no, I would
costs-
love their contact info, because any more, the larger of a network that we can have over there that's helping others. I mean, we do not have, we have been working with the agents now for 7, 8, 9 months, but that's a relationship that we kind of found through the WCA. We've been developing a stronger partnership with them, but we are open to additional partners there, because if it's all serves the same purpose to us, it doesn't matter as long as the job is getting done and the product is getting to where it needs to get to. So
agree.
that would be great if you would share that.
Okay.
Frederick, do you want to share, since this is your first call and some people are still playing catch up, do you want to share who you are and how you ended up here and what you're doing?
I got an email from, I guess it was Maureen, but I'm not sure, to be honest with you. And it caught my eye because, again, we're trying to get stuff from Atlanta to the EU that's less than a container load sort of thing. We're just starting out. I started Global Humanitarian Assistance when the war started. We have shipped some things over. We're working on generators from China that can be shipped direct to Ukraine or direct to an EU port. So that's part of what we're doing. And then a bunch of warm clothing and socks and things like that that we've also done. So we also, as I said, started a charitable foundation in Ukraine that allows us, if we need to pay volunteers and employees and that sort of thing on a charitable basis. And because we are also supporting refugee children, orphans in Poland, in the northern Poland area, we started a charitable foundation there. So as I said, we've linked up with Bioport in the EU and Atlas Logistique in Ukraine, and they are our logistics chain within Europe. And that's, again, what attracted me to them is it's free.
Yeah.
So.
It's a big selling point. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Will you put your website or information as well as those partners you mentioned in chat too, so anybody can grab those when needed?
Mm-hmm. And it's good to meet everybody.
Okay, thank you for
Absolutely.
coming.
Yes, thank you for being here and what you've mobilized so quickly as well.
Yeah.
Vicky, one of our alumni and cherished partners at Matter, what is happening on your end and what's available?
Hi, everybody. Good to see some familiar faces and a couple of new ones as well. My name is Vicky Bachman, and at Matter, we are a medical nonprofit. So what we're doing is collecting excess and expired equipment and supplies from hospitals throughout the country. And we are redistributing them for a variety of purposes. One of the main things that we do is repurpose those supplies to outfit hospitals and clinics in other countries. So last year, we shipped containers to 17 different countries. And after we sort through our medical supplies, we are left with a really nice supply of mixed medical devices of all kinds that we repalletize. And those are the ones that we have been contributing to a variety of donor recipients throughout this past year. Much of it has ended up in Ukraine. So we're proud to say that we're helping in that area. And we are At this point, that operation within our nonprofit is growing significantly. So we do have a large supply right now of pallets of medical supplies that we would want to donate to anyone that is on this call or anyone that's listening later. Or if you know of someone who might be interested in receiving a few pallets up to a truckload or 2 truckloads, we are looking for new recipient partners to take on those supplies.
Terrific.
Vicky, you guys have been a wonderful partner and your generosity has been overwhelming. So we really appreciate working with you. And, you know, I don't know that anybody on the call, I can't see everybody, has received, you know, been the benefit of one of your containers, but a lot of the containers that we've shipped have been coming from Matter, working with the US organization, and then getting it directly in the hands overseas. So, you know, again, we really appreciate that.
Mhm.
Thank you. And it's a proud partnership for us as well to be able to do things with Vector. So please keep us in mind. And if you want, I can put my, well, I guess are the emails in the chat, or I can put my email in the
Go ahead and
chat.
put yours in. Mhm.
You guys can feel free to reach out to me offline and we can talk about how we work.
Anna and Natasha, I think you're both just joining us for the first time. If you have the ability, we'd love to hear more about you.
Yes, hi everyone. I'm Natasha. I'm from Real Trucking. The way I found out about Vector and your mission here is the president of the company. His name is Stan. I'm not sure, maybe he's joined the call in the past before. He was at an event, I believe it was like a conference of some sort in the fall, and he found out about you guys. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to join some of the calls in the past because I was caught up in like travel and some other stuff. So this is my first call. I was just looking forward to hearing what you guys do. I think my colleague Desiree joined a call a few months ago, and we are collecting items for Vector to actually donate overseas. But yeah, that's what I have on my end.
Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. Good to meet more of
For
your
having
team.
me.
Yeah. Yeah. And Desiree and I have been in email. She has some items that she collected, and we're going to try and match them up with a container that is leaving from White House and Shapiro in a couple weeks. And then that will be married up and going over to the Copernicus group, which is an organization. There's the main contact is here in the US, but their group is on the ground over there in Poland and Ukraine distributing items. So it's marrying of a bunch of different attendees of our calls the past 6 or 7 months. So it's like a little unicorn for Humanitarian Aid of getting everything matched up together. So we appreciate you guys participating, and I love how if one person couldn't join in, someone else joined in. It really shows some commitment. So
Yeah.
it's great.
I think Desiree has collected some letters and things too, maybe, right, Maureen?
She has, but I haven't seen any new ones come to the office, but she
Okay.
said she mailed them. So I know that there weren't as many people in the office last week. So I need to circle back, and I will do that actually right now. So
Fantastic. Thank you for being here. Anna, are you able to chat? Maybe not.
maybe not. Who else do we have on here? Who else are we going to cold call on now?
Evelyn, it's been a while
yeah.
since you joined us. Yep.
Yeah. Where is she? Evelyn, do you have any more new poems? She's on mute.
Thank you very much. It's just so enriching to be here. And I know I live in Gainesville, which is an hour north of Atlanta, and there is talk in our community about Ukraine, the efforts, particularly Jim Jennings with Conscience International. And I just like to help marry people resources and get back to you. And yes, I do write poems about Ukraine because it's part of my heritage as well, and I care deeply. Thank you.
Yes. If you haven't had the chance, Evelyn, to listen to the latest podcast with Brad Hendrickson, it'll be one you like because he talks about Ukrainian poetry.
Thank you. I
Oh,
pulled
that's
it
right.
up.
He does. Yeah.
I
Mhm.
pulled it up. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, Vlad just joined. Vladimir's here. And he may have,
Glad I thought you were on vacation. Are you back?
I was on Kansas City on a road trip, like not road trip, it was a business trip.
Oh, yeah. I'll say Kansas City in the winter does not sound like vacation. So I thought you were
No.
on vacation.
I was there for 3 days and it was so cold. It was 17 degrees.
Isn't the
And-
Super Bowl in Kansas City this weekend?
And it's brown. Everything's brown. I told my
Oh.
wife she would love it because that's her favorite color. I said everything's brown there.
what is going on with you and what's happening on your end?
Well, we've shipped that container out that you guys provided. And so we
It was
cleaned up.
picked up last week, right?
Yeah, I picked up
Okay.
on Thursday, I believe. No, it was
Okay.
maybe it was Thursday. Yeah, it was on Thursday that it got picked up. So we got loaded up and we actually posted a video on Facebook. We tagged you guys in it.
Oh, good. Okay.
So somebody responded from your guys' company, said, "Oh, thank you." So whoever's dealing with the,
Christy's the marketing expert
I think
there.
that's probably Louisa, but yes, thank you.
yep. So that went pretty well. Everything fit, and we're gathering some more stuff. So it's going to be probably another maybe month, maybe 4 weeks before we
Okay.
can do another one. Now we'll see how that the war pins out, because I mean it's going to be bloody here. I think in the next couple within the next couple of months.
Mhm.
It's going to be a pretty interesting thing how it all goes.
Because of the year mark, or is there something else?
Well, it's
pending?
more to that. The thing is, I think a lot of the European partners, and I mean, I'm not trying to badmouth anybody, but it's just they take so long with their bureaucracy to kind of like push stuff through as far as like weaponry. And I think the Ukrainians are paying a hefty price with young guys dying,
Mhm.
while the process is happening behind the scenes and stuff. That's what I think.
Mhm.
Well, I definitely think that they don't have as much as we do, for sure,
Mhm.
on that side, but also there is some of that like NATO, non-NATO tightrope they have to walk with, kind of provoking Russia more too. So I think some of it's the politics as well, and
Yeah.
it's,
Well, that's
yeah.
that's what I mean. But I think over the looking at the big picture, I think if Ukraine does prevail, I think they would be a great partner to Europe. Literally a good, strong partner, as far as because I mean, you look at a lot of the European countries, they're powerful economically, a lot of them. But as far as having the manpower and in case of a war, they're not a lot of them are very small. I mean,
Yeah, they certainly don't have the national defense budget per
Yeah.
capita that we do.
yeah. And
but-
but it's as far as the manpower, on the battlefield, I think it would be a good addition to to NATO in that area.
Mhm.
Mhm.
At least because I mean they learn fast. They can they learn very fast to use the equipment. You don't have to spend a lot of time teaching them, and because of that, it's a huge benefit.
Yeah.
I know you were working with a hospital that was closing to get some of their supplies. Has
Yeah.
that happened?
That's what we shipped to that.
That's what you
container.
shipped. Okay.
Yeah, that's what we shipped. We literally had room for maybe 3 pallets, and we ended up collecting it here locally,
Wow.
and then just filling it up and shipping it. It was a lot of that stuff was actually majority was all hospital equipment and and stuff that people need, like IV fluids and a lot of IV products. So lab equipment. So it was pretty good.
Vladimir, I have a question for you. One of our recipient partners that we gave a couple truckloads of supplies to said that they're working directly with the Ukrainian hospitals, the government hospitals, and that they have a policy or a law, in fact, that they cannot take anything that's expired.
That is because the thing is, I mean, I see where that comes from. Like, for example, technically you're right. There is such a thing. Anything that's expired, they don't want it. But there's some stuff like common sense. For example, like we had some ibuprofen that was given to us. Some of it was good, and some of it was like just expired not too long ago. And the guys down there said, hey, if as long as it's like within like 5 months, 4 or 5 months, like for certain things, it's okay. But they don't want stuff that's like, way up there. I don't know what.
I mean, we have a lot of things like gauze, for example, which has an expiration date on it, but we really know that it's not expired. It's still really good. But this partner is saying that they wouldn't be able to take things from us because these mixed pallets of mixed medical supplies have some things in there that have an actual expiration date on them.
Yeah.
So as far as I could tell, it's just the government hospitals that are saying we don't want to take these things, and hopefully there'll be other sources for them to give those expired things to once they're over there, that they can be distributed to other clinics and maybe field hospitals.
Yeah, I would say a field hospital is where they could probably go and they'd be used just period. It's just a need that they
Or even, Luke, do your church partners and things like that take any of those kinds of things as well?
Yeah, we've done it. We've had a lot of difficulty though getting medicine across the border. That's always been our issue because we unload in Hungary and then just move all the stuff. So if we can figure out how to get any sort of medicine into Ukraine, then we can definitely distribute.
What has been your challenge with the medicine? Just that it's a medicine and it's a controlled substance?
Yeah, it's just standard border issues.
And
that
the thing is with medicine, we actually took a bunch of like pills over there, like, and it's just the way who you send as well. I mean, you send this guy that sounds like an attorney and is just like, he's like a bureaucrat, you won't get far with him. You got to send a guy that knows the streets. He shows up there and he starts talking to these people and just starts to get things, going. And I mean, we brought stuff in that one of the guys, I remember, looked at the manifest and looked at the guy that we sent. He says, who the hell even let you out of US with this stuff? Because a lot of it was like, and we're like, hey, here's the documents, from that we gathered. And the more supporting documents you can get and the more people you can get involved, the better it is for you to actually do the transaction without getting into trouble and stuff like that. So, I mean, with us, I pushed the consulate office to give us any kind of documents to help us with that. And when they said they've actually got really started to control giving out documents as well, because there's some backed characters that showed up and they tried to take advantage of a situation. And there were some things that were done that were not good. So they've actually right now they're very choosy who to even give a document to, a supporting document and stuff. So I had one office I talked to, they wouldn't give me one because when the rules changed on our last shipment, and I still called my old contact, hunted him down because he was out of country. So he gave me one, but he says, hey, they've been really clamping down on us on this stuff. So make sure you don't transport anything, illegal, because I don't want to get in trouble and I don't want you to get in trouble. So that's pretty much how how we've been dealing with it.
Yeah. And Vicky, to your point, I know even like our team has volunteered locally in Atlanta to separate medical supplies for MedShare. And I know even with them, of course, they regularly pre-pandemic and then now have volunteers always in sorting medical supplies. But of course, they had a big halt on that during the pandemic. And then we were in the summer sorting medical supplies and they were like, well, nobody will take anything with an expiration date on it. So it just has to be tossed. But it was a lot of gauze and Band-Aids and, just stuff that was still sticky, still wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I cannot in good conscience throw this stuff away. So I was collecting in boxes and taking it to my friend who has a local clinic and who works, they were working with some organizations and stuff. But yeah, it is crazy for some of that stuff that is not ingested, is not any of that kind of stuff that just nobody would take after that.
Yeah, and then if you we find volunteers that actually take this stuff over there to the soldiers by themselves.
Wow. Okay.
And then they do it and the soldiers don't care.
Right.
If a guy, the guy's been shot with the bullet, I mean, he's not going to look at the expiration date on the box. Okay, I'm going to bleed to death or I'm going to use this, Band-Aid that expired 3 weeks ago. Which should I do? They're just going to use it. They don't care. But
Sure.
and I can understand the local officials there.
Yeah.
They don't where's that fine line? Is it 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month? So I guess they decided not to play that game. And
Yeah.
it does actually, if a lot of people just send all the expired stuff, for example, then it becomes a dumping ground.
Mm.
And then you'll have people shipping stuff that's 2 years expired so they can get a tax write-off.
Mm-hmm.
But one man's tax write-off is another man's garbage now.
Mm-hmm.
That he has
Right.
to-
So yeah,
to
Vladimir,
do it.
I'm glad you brought that up. I mean, I didn't mean to open a can of worms. This is just one partner who
Yeah.
is sending things to government hospitals, but all the other organizations, we haven't heard a word from them about
Mhm.
the
I
supplies
think
that
it
are in
just
these
applies
pallets.
to the government entities, Vicky. I don't think that the churches and local clinics would be discriminatory with it. I'm sure
That's
it's just
right.
like a liability or a policy thing.
Yep.
Than anything with an expiration date. They don't want to kind of put some of that discretionary decision-making at a lower level to say, well, it's a Band-Aid or it's Advil. They both have, the date on them. They probably just made more of like a blanket rule.
Yeah.
Just
Mhm.
for
True. So
efficiency
just so the group
purposes.
knows, we are not doing any medicine. So we're
Okay.
just medical supplies. So there's a difference between the medicines and the supplies themselves. And the pallets that we put together have a variety of long dated things and expired things. So what most of our partners are doing is sorting them again once they get them to their destination, either in New York or wherever, before they get shipped overseas. And they're finding that they can use up to 95% of what's in those pallets. So it's still really good quality. What is in those pallets, they have an average value of about $42,000. So just want to clear the air there that we're not
Yeah.
seeing this as a dumping ground in any way, shape,
No,
or
and
form. We have already.
I wouldn't, don't take it as an insult. I'm just saying, I'm in business. I'm also on a company. And I know that there's a million people out there and you'll have a lot of million different opinions.
Yeah.
And there's literally people who genuinely trying to help. And they make a lot of sense. They really want to help. And we appreciate it. I appreciate it as a Ukrainian, I was born there. I love every one of you guys. But there is always that, the rotten core somewhere in there that will just literally say, the stuff is worth 100,000, for example, and it's, 2 years expired. He'll throw it in there, write it off, 200,000 donation. And so he can save money on taxes. And then he'll pay, $10,000 or $12,000 to ship it there. I mean, he made out like a bandit, but I'm just saying that there are, in every industry and everything. And, my father used to say this: you tell an idiot to pray and he'll crack his head open on the pavement. So, there's just different kind of people out there. There's some people that they do wonderful things, and some horrible people out there. But overall, I mean, I really I appreciate every one of you for actually, doing this and helping.
Yeah, for sure. Simon, are you able to chat? I know you had some connection issues.
Hi everyone, yes, I am back. So computer was playing up and I wasn't actually able to unmute myself for some reason. Nice to meet you all. Anna, who is also on this call, and I are from the Homeless World Cup, which we're grateful for your support actually, Christy and Nuria on this call and signing a new partnership. So the Homeless World Cup, I'd just like to introduce a little bit. Oh, thank you there, Christy. Great you have the link there as well. So we are a charity based in Edinburgh, Scotland. Usually our work is to work with homeless charities, our local partner, 70 local partners across the world in kind of creating a platform for people to kind of get back to their life, especially homeless people and those who are refugees included, various form of homelessness, to get back on their feet through the sport of football. So part of our work this year is actually going to have a tournament in the US. What we do is ask our partners, local partners, to come to the annual tournament and basically through the tournament, give them a platform to become the stars of the day. They return to their country and basically shine a light on their life, carry on the good work and further. So we work particularly in this case, because it's a Ukraine-oriented talk today. We work with our local partner in Odessa, I believe. Anna, correct me if I'm wrong. In basically trying to get them to the US to participate. We have done so previously in November last year, bringing a couple of teams, youth and women from Ukraine to Spain for our own event. And part of that is to actually not just getting them to Spain participate, we're also going to help them kind of relieve some of their kind of mental or psychological kind of challenges during the tournament through the sports of football, getting them to mingle and also to speak to other people who are outside and getting them support. We are looking at the opportunity to speak to our Ukrainian partner and bring them on our next, I would say, leveraging logistics for Ukraine, let's say for March, in hope that they can actually speak about their work on the ground themselves. And so there's a quick intro about the Homeless World Cup and the partnership that we have with Vector this month. But glad to meet you all. Anna, do you have anything to add? Based out of Scotland, of course.
Hi. Yeah, I'm Anna. You're right, Simon. It's in Odessa in Ukraine. So hopefully we'll be able to speak to them soon and then talk about it on the next leveraging logistics chat. But yeah, they're in Odessa. I've met them before. I met them in Friendly Lads in Madrid. It's a very inspiring group. So hopefully we'll be able to help them and get them to Sacramento.
Are you guys taking them to Sacramento, you said?
No, every single team has to fundraise to get there. So that would be flights, but once they arrive in Sacramento, everything will be covered. So once they get to Sacramento, travel, accommodation and food will all be covered. So when they're fundraising, it's just to get there.
Yes.
And how did you identify the people that are playing? And obviously that's, I'm sure, a challenge as well.
So in every single country, we have a partner. So we have a partner in Ukraine, and it's a street soccer football partner. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So on that note, I think Vladimir raised a good point. So usually we raise funds and work with the local partner to get them to ask them to fly to Sacramento in this case. For Ukraine in particular, this season, we are actually looking at a different model of working with several partners ourselves to bring, especially like Vector, to get introduction into like kind of airlines, so actually to provide them with the flight and also working out the visas with the Sacramento kind of municipal or the California states to actually get them over. There are other discussions ongoing. Obviously, there's humanitarian aid, etc. while they're there, and maybe even like prolonging their stay and making that transition to the US. But that's obviously out of our control. But we are working with them to get them over from Ukraine as well. So it's a special case with Ukraine, and this here's the perfect platform to kind of bring that to light as well. We thought.
I guess my question is, how did Sacramento come to your guys' mind? I know there's a huge Ukrainian community there. I mean, I'm just wondering if that's the reason, or.
I've looked into
No.
that actually.
Actually, Anima, I've looked into that. Yes.
Yeah, there's a massive Ukrainian community. So it didn't happen this year in particular, but every year it's a bidding process where a country puts forward them holding the event. But this year we had a special relationship with Sacramento where they asked to hold it. I think Simon might know more, but they asked.
Yeah, because in Sacramento, a lot of there's Ukrainian people that are now starting to run for offices as well.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Do you know
so,
any specific communities in Ukraine where I can
in
look
Sacramento?
into it?
Oh,
Yeah,
I
in
did-
Sacramento, sorry.
Yeah, there's a lot of them are like churches actually. They're
Yeah.
and like House of Bread is one of them.
House of
Yeah.
Bread.
Yeah.
I'll look
then-
into that one.
Yeah, one of the it's a really good place. I mean, they've been around for a long time, and the leadership there are just amazing people. And there's few more that I can't remember the names of.
Yeah,
the
I've seen a few
organization.
churches, but I'll look into that one.
Yeah, that's a really good shout, as we say in the UK. And it's about we are able to identify and work with some of the Ukrainian community along with our US Street Soccer partner, maybe creating a welcoming kind of scenario for the specific team that's coming over, and making
there's
more
also
welcoming.
Lexington, Kentucky, Nicholasville, Kentucky. There's another location there that's pretty. In the community there is pretty big as well.
Yeah,
just kind of letting you know.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Thanks so much. Pleasure.
Anna, do you want to put your email in chat in case Vlad or
Yeah,
somebody?
of course I can.
Yeah, we Nuria and Simon, I think you met Simon, Nuria, right, at a conference, and we just thought it was such an, well, of course we have lots of soccer/football fans on our staff, but we just thought it was such an interesting model to help bring dignity and hope and to all kinds of people. And then of course loved what they were doing in Ukraine as well. And so glad they're finally able to join the call, and we're excited to be working with them.
Right. Thank you, Chrissy. Likewise, we're thrilled actually to be a partner and actually shining a light on raising the awareness and kind of combat this kind of for good cause.
And I like your accent. I was gonna, also want to mention. I mean,
Thank you.
I have a friend actually that's he's British, and he came into a truck stop once, and this lady just looking at him, he says, "You know what I want?" And he's like, "What?" "I want you to read me a bedtime story."
Thank you. So Anna's the one with the British or the Scottish accent.
Yeah, I don't know if you'd understand my accent. It'll come across quite broad.
I love it.
Good. We look forward to bringing our Ukrainian partner onto this particular kind of platform as well. Thank you, Christy and Nuria, for the opportunity.
Of course.
Yeah. I have added, I've shared in the chat a link where you can have a look at there's a charity foundation, which is the organization that I believe you guys partner with, Rights in Ukraine.
Yes.
You've got something on your website.
Yes,
So
we have a list of our local partners that we work with as well. I mean, probably
yes,
more
and
over
I
70
just-
of them.
Exactly. Yeah. And I just shared the Ukraine one.
Thank you, Nuria. Yes, indeed, I just saw that as well. So,
Perfect. All right. Well, Maureen, anything else we need to cover? Is there an update on, just so everybody is aware, we are still, I know we were doing a big push before the holidays for the letter collection, but we are actually, didn't have a final deadline. So we are still having people send letters to the office. So for those of you who are new, we are collecting letters and drawings by children to send to the children of Ukraine and our different partners there. We've sent some to Luke and his group, and then Oksana, who is often on the calls, she's helping us coordinate some as well. But yeah, just really sweet letters of hope and encouragement, and giving them the ability and power to say something to each other as well. But so far over 2,200 have been collected, and there's some at the office right now. I'm not sure how many that is, but we still have that ongoing. Anything else, Maureen, we need to mention?
I'm gonna-
Sorry, someone was gonna say something.
Yeah, I said I'm gonna write one with my writing skills. I mean, they're gonna think it's
Your
a children's-
drawing skills, Ben, it'll fit right
Draw
in.
if you want.
I'll slip it in between like my third graders.
They won't know. They won't
yeah.
know. Believe me.
They're the sweetest letters. They're so
Yeah, they are. No, I mean, we still are sponsoring a container a month going over there. And we have had kind of continued interest with in addition to that. And so we're still helping with the logistics and delivery of that, but we can't sponsor every single container. So one is we're still focused on the effort and the initiative to get material over there. We're sponsoring what we can. We know our partners are doing their part to try and fundraise on their own, but continue to spread the word that we're doing these calls every month, and we are focused on and committed to helping the Ukrainian people and also some of the surrounding communities that have taken on a significant amount of Ukrainian refugees. And so if you know of people looking to make donations in order to help, like monetary donations to help get more funding to ship containers over, we're happy to coordinate that. If you have product or know people who have product that they want to send over and need some logistics sort of expertise, we're trying to help where we can, and we're funding it where we can. But that's kind of what I wanted everyone to take away, is that we're still here. We're still trying to be a leader in the space to really focus on this and sort of lead with purpose and example here. And we appreciate all of you kind of coming to the calls and spreading the word. And for some of you, back when we did them weekly or twice a month, you've been on 10, 15 calls, and we love seeing your face, and, continue to spread the word. And we'll do our next call. And because February is 28 days this year, it's in 4 weeks from now on March 7th. So same date, same time, just add one more month. And we would love to see you all again, and, bring a friend.
Yeah. And in light, of course, of recent events, there will be people that need to turn their attention to Syria and Turkey and what's happening there. And we're also, reaching out to our friends and partners in that area and seeing how we can help. But, and of course, as you guys know, and in the spaces that you work in, there are needs everywhere, and it's hard not to help everyone, and it's hard to have to pick and choose when you do have limited resources. But as Maureen said, we're so grateful you show up here. And if you do, again, come across more people who are working in Ukraine in and around Ukraine, and just either want other people to talk to about it, or kind of want to brainstorm solutions or whatever, then that's what these are for. And we're constantly connecting people behind the scenes as well. But yeah, we're still in this, and glad you're here with us.
I have two questions. Is there a member list and that sort of thing that you all can share? Those people who are here and or otherwise. And then Luke, can you reach out to me so that we can touch base on some of your experiences or your folks' experiences traveling to Kyiv, as I have to go in the next month. So, and if anybody needs somebody to go, then I'm planning to go. And third, if you need legal help in Ukraine with something, I have a lawyer there that works for us. So, and they can work with customs and get things
What
organized.
areas will you be traveling to?
I've got to go to Warsaw, and then I've got to go to Kyiv, Venetia, and that area. So,
Oh, Vinica, that's where you're gonna go?
yeah.
Okay, we have contact
Kyiv.
there if you need. Yeah, if you ever need anything in Vinica, let me know.
Okay. If you could send me your contact information, my email's in the chat. That would be great.
Okay.
Yeah, I just threw my email in the chat. And also going off of the point about Syria and Turkey, if anyone's interested in supporting that, that's been my entire week pretty much, has been planning and mobilizing operations there. And we're sending a team out into Syria starting tomorrow. So if anyone has any questions or is interested in partnering there, don't be afraid to reach out.
Okay, great. And Frederick, to your point earlier, we don't just send out a blanket list because we don't have everybody's permission to do that. That's why we either encourage people to put their information in chat so that it is publicly visible, or if you reach out to Maureen and say, who was that was doing this thing, then she can connect you one-on-one that way as well.
Yeah.
And Vicky, I sent the contacts accidentally to you. If you're able to post that directly to the chat, that would be good.
I'm not sure how to
Let
do
me see if
chat.
I can figure out how to do that. Maybe I can just copy and paste it.
Yes, you should be able to.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
so, sorry.
That's
And I'm
fine.
not sure how to do it on my phone to go into the chat. I looked around, can't find it. So you can just, Marion can give you my email address. I just can't do it.
Okay.
Mhm.
I don't know why I can't figure it out where to do it.
I can type it in real quick here. I'll do that before we hang up.
Yeah, because whenever I send the recap email with everything, I also send a copy of the chat text so that you can grab any of that information afterward that people put in chat as well.
Right.
Yeah, so we just normally don't send like a list of everybody that participates because when you sign up on Zoom, there's no mark that says like it's okay to distribute your contact info or something. So that's why we use the chat. So
Mhm.
anyone that puts something in the chat, then they know that it's like a deliberate sort of sharing with and kind of giving the right to do that without us having to share info without permission. That was why.
Okay.
And
I would just
put-
like to say that I did help someone from this call with their marketing materials. They're from Ukraine, but they wanted to have it globally available. So if I can help in that way, or any family who is reestablishing here, whether it's temporary or even someplace else, to help them with their business acumen and reach the right people and connect them, I would be glad to donate my time for that.
Thank you so much, everyone. So grateful to have you all here. Good to see familiar faces as well as meet new ones. So we look forward to the next call and just working with you closer for more solutions. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you
you.
for
Thank
all
you,
that you
everyone.
do.
Everyone.
Bye.
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 Well,